Hello, how's everyone today? I'm getting set up. So there's a couple little logistics working out here, trying to get the lighting. How's everybody doing today? Please share the room out. I don't know why I'm so dark in here. All right, so get your little music. Hmm, How's everyone doing? Welcome to Money and Marriage. And I'm going to get our additional families in here. So if you are joining on Clubhouse, I am setting it up in 2 seconds. So thank you for being here today. I wanted to get the TikTok family in, but it might be a little bit of a challenge today. All right. So if you're here, please comment in the room. Let us know you're here. Tell us where you're commenting from. And give us let me get you some music here. Give us a couple of seconds to get it going. Let's see. How's everybody doing? I am fired up today. I'm going to tell you that right off the top. So, anything is liable to happen today. Hello, welcome. So we're getting everybody in the room, and we got some good topics to talk about today. So I just want to welcome. If you're coming in, this is Money and Marriage. Honey, are you in the TikTok? Are you on the TikTok?
I'm trying to see the link, love. I'm trying to see the link. I'm in,
What you
but I don't
say?
see your link. I'm in.
All right. Well, you may or may not see my
Trying to
husband
look for the
today.
live, but I'm in.
If you come into the room in my live, we are talking money and marriage today. I'm trying to get my husband in the room. Check us out on Facebook. We're doing Facebook Live right now, and we are in Clubhouse if you're having any technical difficulties. So, this is an exciting topic today. I'm excited because, as you know, if this is your first time here, my husband never knows what I'm going to talk about for the day. So, I just kind of surprise him with different things that I cover so that you get his honest opinion. And I want to, I want to try to get him in the room if you are on TikTok. But we are going to talk about some things that's going to disrupt you today. You might get mad at me today because today is the day that I'm not going to hold back. I'll tell you exactly how I feel about a couple of things. And it's something that you may, be upset at me. But that's okay because usually when you get upset, when you get offended, some change happens, right? So we're gonna have some change today because I keep seeing certain things come up, and we just gotta make some adjustments to how we do things, right? Amen. Amen. So tell me how you doing. Tell me where you coming in from. Just try and get all the areas in so that we can have this conversation before I start getting all the way fired up. I want to make sure. Um, and I know my husband's probably thinking like, "Uh-oh, what's she gonna talk about today?" I got stuff to talk about all the time. And today is going to be more of kind of what's going on in what I'm seeing in the media. And because we dealt with this in our marriage, I want to see how you all are dealing with it. So again, tell me where you're coming in from. Honey, ask to join the TikTok so that I can I see you in here, but just ask to join so that I can get you in the conversation so they don't just see me. All right. No, you don't know how to do it.
I know.
This is one of the, unfortunately. Well, TikTok, you might only see me today. So today we're going to talk. I'm trying to get Clubhouse in the room. So again, if you are live, we're on YouTube today. We're on Facebook Live. You'll just see me on TikTok unless my husband figures out how to.
No, they're not gonna figure it out. But what should I do? Just tell me what to do. I'm
Uh,
in, but
I don't know. I don't know. But let's talk about it. So we weren't here last week. Why we weren't here last week? Because we were out of town. So we had a birthday party to go to, and we were unable to come on for our money and marriage. But today we're here talking, and we're going to talk about planning for the future. And this is a tough topic when you have two different composing ideas in a marriage. And how do you plan when everybody has different perspective? I want to show this video. And if you're on TikTok, you probably already saw it. You probably didn't see it if you're on Facebook, or I don't know what whatever your area that you usually watch. But I'm gonna try to show this video on the screen on Facebook because, like I said, if you're on TikTok, you saw it because it was all over TikTok. It was just constant, and it's some cussing in it. So if you have tender ears, all my tender ear people, I just want you to close your ears for a bit. And if you need to research it, again, if you're in the room, comment, like, forward, please, so that we can get everyone in the conversation. I'm not going to be able to do Clubhouse because unfortunately it's just not working out for me today. All right, so I'm going to play it, and it should play even for TikTok, but you'll know. And this is for everybody that's seen this video. All right, let me just start with introduction. Hello, this is Money and Marriage with Johnny and Raquel Carr. I am your money magnet, financial strategist, kingdom influencer, leadership strategist. I'm your girl, okay? And I'm gonna just introduce my husband.
what's good, fam? This is Johnny Carr, and I'm married to the Money Magnet. Glad to be here with y'all today. Really, really excited.
All right, so today we're talking about planning for the future in a marriage, in a union, because not everybody believes in getting married, but they believe in being life partners. They don't believe in the paperwork or whatever else is associated with it. So it's not just dedicated if you're in marriage. However, this particular topic may or may not have to do with marriage, but I'm gonna put this in. It's probably the first time my husband is seeing this. But you'll probably hear it. Like I said, I just want to put a disclaimer out there. It has some cussing in it, and I'm gonna add it to the stream. If you want to.
This is motherfuckers on the top. But now we gotta do this shit again.
So all I have to say is
We gotta do this shit again. And nobody tell me, and nobody here tell me why I get emotional. Why you talk like that? This man's fine.
This is
That's fine. You can do that.
You don't know what I'm motherfucking feel. I'm a fast
that is
motherfucker. I've been here 30-something motherfucking years.
Yeah, I agree too.
30-something fucking years. You tell me I ain't got no
man is mad,
motherfucking
okay? He's like, you tell
Nobody
me
tell me to
today,
calm my ass down. Fuck everybody tell me to calm down.
today,
God damn it.
after
This
I
is
don't
my
have no
motherfucking
pension, I
money,
don't work
man.
here for 30 years.
Fuck that
You
shit.
telling me there's no pension? You telling me that it's just, I have so many questions about this topic.
This shit.
He is mad. And what I'm surprised about, the guy that tells him they're like this factory looks like, and I guess they gave him this conversation. So if you look up on Instagram, TikTok, and you look up no pension or 30 years no pension, you'll see his video. He is hot, okay? And I got so much to say about this for a number of different reasons. I'm so fired up. I've been thinking about it ever since I saw it a couple of days ago. And my husband, we don't have pensions. However, there's a lot of people that have pensions. And I just want to, put some thoughts in the comments section. Let me know what you think about this particular topic. But I'm gonna ask Melissa because I have so much going on in my head about this. I have so much I want to chime in on this topic, and I'm gonna try to temper myself because I'm probably not gonna say what everybody want me to say or how you all feel about this particular topic. But raw emotion, honey. How do you feel? This is your first time seeing this particular, maybe your first time, but what's your thoughts?
I'm gonna be real. He was cussing and yelling so much, I couldn't even understand what he was talking about.
Well, basically, that's what I said. He's sitting there saying they brought him together, and not even in a conference room, not even with any representative, but basically told him he don't have they're discontinuing the pension, and he's just finding out, and he's been working there for 30 years, and now he's just finding out he doesn't have a pension. So it's just raw emotion. He is. So that's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously after you've been working somewhere for 30 years, you expect, because you've been working for the 30 years. Now, did they take his pension away altogether, or are they just saying they're going to stop it? Are they saying the 30 years that he worked, he wasn't going to get the pension, or are they saying that it wasn't going to continue moving forward? Do you know?
No. But because a lot of people had an opinion on this particular topic about, okay, what in the world, everybody's kind of fired up saying, hey, you work somewhere 30 years. And there's a lot of people that have worked a place 30 years. Now, pensions have gone down overall. So a lot of companies don't offer it. And if you do have it, new employees don't have it. So I'm going to cover, this is probably not going to be as interactive as it probably could be, because I have so many comments on this particular topic. But one of the things that I want to say, and I want to just calm down, and I want to say to anyone that is depending on a company for your future, you have to think and tell yourself there's so many things in history that has told us that we cannot depend on companies, right? We can't even really, have you noticed what's going on with the government if you're in the States, and what's going on? They keep raising the debt ceiling. So I want to ask you, if you're in the room, what is your retirement plan? Do you have a retirement plan? And it does not matter what age you are. If you are working age, do you have a retirement plan? Are you contributing? What is your situation right now? I'm really interested to know, because this particular situation continues to arise, and it seems like every time something happens, everybody's in the dark about it, or no one is kind of aware of what's happening, and they're confused that this is going on and that companies can belly up. So one of the things I want to do is paint a picture, because my husband and I, we are leaders of leaders. Okay. We lead leaders, we lead people, we lead frontlines, we are leaders. And what happens is that we're in a state right now where there's inflation, and everybody is expecting more. Everybody wants more money. Everybody wants to get a return. Everybody wants raises, things like this. So let's just take it to, and they think, oh, the person that, a lot of times what I heard in the comments was like, oh, the person at the top is making all this money, and then the little people aren't making nothing. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands you are a business. You are a business, and you are in business. Now, the difference between someone that's, let's say, an entrepreneur or a business, they wrote up a contract, they decided to have an agreement, they decided to get paid on certain things. However, you as an individual, if you decide to go work for someone, it's the same thing, but a little bit different. You're coming to work, you've decided you're going to work for this amount. There's some benefits that's agreed upon, and you are in business. You're in business, whether you're in business with a credit card company, you're in business when you go out to these, and you're a consumer. These are business transactions. But a lot of times we don't think of ourselves as a business. And what happens is, and what happens when we don't think of ourselves as a business, what happens? We become victims. You think that these companies owe you something, or these companies are supposed to take care of you, and that's just not the case. It's nice to think about, but we're not babies, okay? And the only one that was supposed to kind of take care of us is maybe our parents, or that kind of, and we kind of go with employers or in arrangements thinking in that same type of mindset. you trust Jesus, everything else you check. Okay. So I want you to get into the habit of checking who you're in business with, and potential, especially if you save, if your future livelihood is dependent upon a company doing what they said they were going to do, it is imperative that you do what you need to do and check. Yeah. Go ahead, honey.
So I don't want to move away from what you said because I really think it was brilliant when you said that you are a business, right? It's very important for you to understand that you're a business and what you said. And I understand why you said you were fired up, and I understand why you said people might get mad at you. You really should not be relying on companies. I heard it. One of our friends told us a long time ago that I'd rather work for myself instead of working with somebody else and making somebody else rich. And that's a different kind of mindset when you understand that. But what you said that's so key that don't want people to move away from is companies can go belly up. And companies are going belly up. And right now, these folks don't owe us anything. If they decide to stop pensions, guess what? They no law in the world that says that they can't stop pensions. Now, what I would say, and the question I asked earlier was, if he worked 30 years, are they just going to take away what he worked for the 30 years? If they said they were going to stop it moving forward, I get that. You can't stop that. I don't know how cool it or legal it is to take somebody's pension that's been working for 30 years. But at the same time, it's important to understand, you asked this question, what is your plan? What is your plan? Are you just sitting there waiting for someone else to give you something, and then when they go belly up, you stand in front of a bunch of people and you're going bonkers? Guess what? It ain't going to bring your pension back. It ain't going to bring your pension back. So.
And I think that's a great question. Let me get into that. Because I was very curious as to what happens, because I've never had a pension, so I didn't know a whole lot of details on pension. So I went and for everybody that's joining and you just started, this is Money and Marriage, and with Raquel and Johnny Carr, and we come here on Sundays and we talk about things that kind of impact marriage, but also relationships, unions, anytime you're sharing money, sharing your future. And if you've seen the video on that's been floating around, I played it earlier, guys cussing out his employer because they say he doesn't have a pension anymore. And I had to go and research and say what happens, because there's a portion of this that, yes, the company is responsible for. Then there's a portion of this that I'm going to talk about and our responsibility. And I want to talk about what companies are responsible for. So there's two ways, and I'm gonna try not to make this boring because I have so much to say today. But this has happened so many times. So they have this thing called Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation. It was started by the government to make sure that this doesn't happen. But how many times, when the door closed and if ain't nobody got no money, it don't matter how legal it is for you not to have no pension left. It does not matter how legal it is. If they don't have anything, they don't have anything. So there's a couple of things I want to tell you about, because if you find yourself in this situation, what can you do? Or if you do have a pension, what are your rights? So there's two ways that a company can be termed. And one of the ways is a standard process, standard termination. This is them saying that it is impossible. They're going to file some paperwork and they say it is impossible for us to continue business and pay this pension. And they're going to file for a standard termination. And that standard termination says, before it's approved, it's going to say, hey, do you have enough money in here to support your current contributors, the current beneficiaries, and the beneficiaries that, meaning if you've already retired, and the ones that have already contributed, do you have enough money? And if you do have enough money, what they're going to do, and they approve them, it's going to then go into that Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation. They're going to say, hey, we're going to take over. You're going to get two options. You're going to have one option that you're going to say, hey, they have to purchase an annuity, an insurance annuity at that point. And that insurance annuity is going to guarantee the payments to the beneficiaries for the rest of their life. The second option is you get to have a lump sum. Now, lump sum might sound enticing, right? But know who you are. Now, I want to say this. If somebody bellies up once or somebody doesn't, because what it says if you decide to take the annuity, is that they will continue to make the payments, right? But if they've already had problems, how much are we trusting that? I just want us to put our minds in a place of being business owners. You are a businessman. I don't want to quote Jay-Z, but that's what he's saying. You are a business. You have to look at yourself as a business. So when you're making these decisions, when those letters come in the mail and you just act like you don't see it, you don't open it up, I need you to be in clear understanding of what's going to happen to your future. Because the only place where we get handouts or we hoping things work out is when we was in a mama's womb, when we was being taken care of. But after that, once we become adults and once we realize we're a business, we got to be in business. We have a business mindset. Even if you don't have business, you are a business. Okay, so like I said, you get the lump sum. What do you do with a lump sum? You roll it over into an IRA where you have control over it, where you know where it's going, where you know what it's doing. You talk to a financial advisor. These are the things that if you're in this situation. Now, there's another type of termination. This is called distress. This is them saying, hey, we cannot maintain business anymore. We cannot do business if we continue this pension. They are going through bankruptcy. They're getting brought out. All these kind of things are happening. I want to just tell you now, if you have never seen Who Moved My Cheese, Google it. Today, I'm gonna try to put the link in, but just go and Google Who Moved My Cheese and click on video at the top of Google. It's a standard definition video. It ain't even pretty, but all you need is your ears. Mm-hmm. So you look at it through your back in the day lens when we ain't have HD. Look at it through that lens and go ahead and I'll try to copy and paste it and plug it in.
Why are you saying that, honey? Why are you saying that? I want to just kind of piggyback off what you're saying. Family, it's high time that we start getting educated about our money and started getting educated financially about what impacts us and where our money is going, because we can't stand around. And I'm saying we, because there's a Jewtown and there's a Little Italy and there's a Chinatown. There ain't no Black Town. Okay. And what I'm saying is we've got to start gathering up our wealth. And you know what? Our money is our responsibility. We've got to learn it. And I know it's scary for people because people think, that you got to be like this wizard. No, you got people like my wife. You got people here, other financial planners who can help you understand what to do with your money. But the first thing you got to do is be willing to really face that. And I'm telling you right now, if a company goes out of business, if the money's not there, it's not there. These folks who are sitting around thinking that Social Security is going to be there in 10, 12 years. Listen, folk better stop planning.
Listen, I done already looked it up.
So I feel my brother. I feel him. And I understand him being upset. But not only, and they probably going to let him vent because they probably like, bro, you can vent all you want to. Certainly before they came, I don't even know who this company was, but you also want to think about the company you work for, right? You want to think about how solid the company is that you're working for, right? Right? You don't want to work for a mom and pop. I ain't knocking mom and pops, don't get me wrong, but we talking about your future, especially if you're older, man. You got to really start thinking about this stuff proactively. Anyway, I'm kicking back over to my wife. Go ahead, baby.
All right, so I'm glad you said that because let's talk about some things. I went and said, okay, Social Security, because I know a lot of us are out here depending on Social Security going to provide something. Okay, let me tell you how this works. Because I went on there. Now you can go on, I done printed it all out. It's nice and pretty. And you can put Social Security, what are you going to give me when I retire? Because a lot of times the problem is that we think retirement is so far away. So I looked up and said, how many Americans have a retirement plan? And they said about 50%. That means half of everybody watching today do not have a retirement plan. If that is you and you're not afraid, put your hand up in the comments, type in the comments and contact me. Okay, come on, let's get some of this. But anyway, if you do not have a financial plan, I'm gonna just tell you off the top, because if you do not have a retirement plan, I'm not even gonna talk about financial plan. We talked about financial plan before. If you do not have a retirement plan, and by that I mean you are hoping, wishing, and praying that Social Security, pension, and whomever else is going to take care of you. That means you haven't gone and looked, you haven't checked, or you don't have anything. You haven't put anything away, and you're only hoping on Social Security. All right, so let me just talk to you because I want to to piss you off so bad today that you go and you make a change if you decided that you don't have one. A lot of people don't. I told you half Americans don't. But guess what? When you get there and because what I found is that when we're in these situations when things haven't worked out for us because we failed to plan, we are blaming everyone else.
That's good. That's good.
Things ain't happening for poor people or
That's good.
things, I've done all this all these years. And I found this scripture that was awesome. And I'm just going to put it up. Proverbs, I want you to take these two verses, Proverbs 21:5 and Proverbs 30:25. Proverbs 21:5 says, the plan of the diligent lead to plenty, but those who are hasty is going to lead to poverty. So sometimes we're like, oh, we're poor, or oh, we don't have enough, or oh, we have enough, I can just make more money. All of these I want to permanently damage because this idea that you can just make more money all the time, you're relying upon your body and everything being in tip-top shape. The second one is God's going to work it out. I already know God's going to take care of me. God's going to take care of me when I get old. But then when you get old, you met everybody that isn't helping you out, isn't doing something for you because you thought that the lottery that you never play is going to happen. You haven't talked, you haven't sat with God, you haven't asked God's guidance, none of these things, but God's going to take care of you, God's going to work it out. And what was my other one? And I just want to piss you off today because, and usually I don't. Usually I say, I don't want to offend you if you don't take offense. I want you to be offended because every time I've been offended, I've made a change. Every time somebody said something to me that pissed me off, I had to look at myself and ask myself, what was I doing? And the reality is these companies, this government, all of these things that you are relying on, you're waiting on a miracle and you are the miracle. You're the miracle. God is giving you. So he's giving you wisdom and understanding. So you cannot continue to do whatever it is you've been doing. That the reason why you don't have it. You say, I don't have it because I don't have enough money. But guess what? Every raise you've gotten, you was living off of that amount before. But then as soon as you got a raise, you start living off that amount. Did you decide to say, hey, I'm going to put away? What does Proverbs 30:25 say? I'm going to tell you what it says today. It says, ants aren't strong, but even they save for the summer. So you tell me this little bitty ant that's down here, they can think about what they need for the season where they're not going to be able to come up out the ground, but we can't. With all this intelligence in our mind, all of this ability, all of this creativity, you cannot say God is going to work it out when you don't sit with God, when you ain't sitting in his presence. Because I'm going to tell you what happens in his presence. He's going to give you creativity. He's going to give you ideas. He's going to give you ways to make money. He's going to tell you to save. He's going to give you insight. If you are sitting and saying you don't have enough and that's the reason why you have it, that is what half of America is saying. They don't have enough, but they got lattes, they got cigarettes, they got habits. You have to decide what are these habits that you can get rid of. Because if you put $5, $25 away a week for 20, even at a 5% interest, you cannot keep saying that you don't have it when you do have it to spend on other things. I want to permanently disrupt this thinking because we cannot sit and be subject and victims constantly for what corporations are doing. This happens. You know how many times this happened? I remember when I was in college, I don't know how many people remember Enron, but I remember when Enron went down and people were running around with the papers going to shred them and it went belly up. It was like the biggest corporation. And we in the same situation. Then we had, what was that, in 2007 when everything went up and then cycle happens again. Now we're back in inflation and no movement. No, ma'am, no, sir. We have got to make a decision. We have got to say to ourselves that we are going to do different. We are going to make a change. There's too much information out there. There's too many people out here that can help you. I am here. I'm here for you. I'm here to help and support you. But I'm serious. All jokes aside, there's so many people that are becoming disabled. So let me tell you, because what I said was, my husband brought up Social Security. I'm going to tell you what Social Security said. Because I asked, would there be enough money in 20 years? So if you are in your 40s, which is the average group of folks that kind of usually chime in, they're usually 40, 50s. But if you're in your 30s, that 30 to 55 range is the group of people that usually pop in. If you are of working age, you have to have a plan. Now, what it says, will Social Security still be around when I retire? Well, they don't really, and this is based on 20 years. You about to retire within 20 years. Some of us are retiring less. Some of us have a little bit more time. It says, this is so funny how they say it. I'm just going to read it to you because the government is slow. You got to watch what the government is doing. Reason why I say you are a business, because you know what the largest consumer in the world is? The U.S. government. So if you are a consumer and you don't have anything that you own, you're still a business. The government is still a business. All they do is consume. That's why the debt ceiling keeps getting raised. You have to know at some point there has to be a limit. But let me read what they said, because I want you to hear it from the horse's mouth. Yes, the Social Security taxes you pay now go into Social Security trust funds and are used to pay, listen to me, used to pay the current beneficiaries. What you pay today. Now, they started the conversation off with, yes, it's going to be there. What you pay today is used to pay who's getting paid now. So if someone is retired, you taking care of them. I'm going to continue to read, because you got to read between the lines. The Social Security Board of Trustees now estimates that based on current law, in 2041, that is, how long is that? We in 2023 right now. In 2041, if you got 20 years that you think you might going to retire, the trust funds will be depleted. Now, how they start this sentence with, yes, it's going to be there. Who was they talking about? The folks that's about to retire in 5 years. They're not talking about everybody else. So the people that's about to retire, yeah, it's going to be there for you. But at the top of this, and this is right out there, if you go on Google, this is what they got right out. At the top, they said today's young workers, because this is titled to the young workers. I don't know who the young workers they talk about, I don't know what age bracket, but listen, they say, yeah, it's going to be there. Now, let me tell you what else they said. Based on current law, which is saying law could change, the funds, but right now, funds will be depleted by 2041, which doesn't even give us 20 years. Because people are living longer, okay? The birth rate is low. The ratio of workers to beneficiaries is failing, which means if you have enough workers paying into the system, then they're able to make sure they get a return. That return then allows for the system going longer. But what's happening right now? We're in the age of everybody's an entrepreneur. You see these babies out here, these babies ain't working. They ain't working like we work, okay? They're not trying to put into the system and get Social Security and all these things taken out. They find every way to bypass those. So what that means? That means that there's not enough money going in to pay for you. I want to say this to you because if you have never watched Who Moved My Cheese, please go on and Google Who Moved My Cheese. I'm telling you, it's a standard definition. It's going to hurt your eyes, but you need to see this because things continue to move around you and then you blame the system. We blame the system. Why is this happening? It is continuing to happen year after year, decade after decade. It's nothing new under the sun. We continue to see the same things. Back in Joseph days, what happened? It was going to be 7 years of abundance, 7 years of famine. How many people saved? Joseph did. And then Joseph started taxing everybody. But the same people, we see this over and over again. And when we have abundance, we don't think about our future. We have to have a discipline of saving, a discipline of thinking about our future, a discipline of saying no today so we can say yes tomorrow. There's no way around this. The plans of the diligent will make you wealthy. You are not going to get wealth by just eating your inheritance, eating your future. I hope I'm disrupting you today. I'm going to tell you what else they said. They said, therefore, the taxes are paid by the workers will not be enough to pay the full benefit of the amount scheduled. So they're saying that basically you might get something, but you ain't going to get what you paid in, what you was promised, okay? I want to just I just want to say it again. It starts off with saying, will there be enough? Their first comment is yes. And then as you that's why we got to read. My father said, he said I ain't going to tell you what he really said because he was off the cuff, but he said they hide things from us in books because we won't read it. Listen, I'm only reading this middle part. It says, however, it doesn't mean that Social Security benefits will disappear. Even if modifications to the programs are not made, there will still be enough in 2041. That's not enough. Oh my gosh. So they're basically saying it will go down lower. And they saying even if it does work, they're only providing less than half of what you make today. So if you're thinking about your lifestyle and thinking about what you're how you're expecting to live, Social Security is saying even on a good day, they're only going to be able to provide you with less than half of what you make today. Go ahead, honey. I know you got something to say.
So I would no, I mean, you obviously are on fire, so I'm just kind of letting that fire kindle. But what you're saying makes a lot of sense, and I would ask family that's listening to us right now to ask yourself a question. If I lost my job today, God forbid, if I lost my job today, or if my spouse lost their job today, if an emergency came up, what would we do? I was raised not to rely on other people. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't raised not to ask people for help. I was raised not to rely on other people. And here's one thing that I will definitely tell you. Your job is never going to make you wealthy. It's not going to make you wealthy. In fact, my wife and I ain't even going to make you wealthy. We can tell you stuff, but you got to do the work. There is work that has to be done. And she said something earlier that was really, really powerful. Saving is so key. And people think that you have to save a ton. You just got to get in the habit of building a regimen and discipline of saving. You got to be thinking about what you sacrifice now to get what you need later, especially if you got children, especially if you have a family to take care of. You have to be thinking about what are you going to do if an emergency comes up right now?
Right.
Because Lord knows the way these companies are going belly up right now, you could walk in the office tomorrow, God forbid. Any one of us could walk in the office tomorrow and they say, you know what, it was nice, but it's over. And you're standing there like, and you listen, these conversations are being had in other communities. Let me say it like that.
All the time.
Do you know that in certain communities, the dollar changes hands 6 times before it leaves that community? 6 times before it leaves that community. And what we're doing is we're waiting for Social Security. We're waiting for the lottery. Listen, I had my grandmother, listen. My grandmother was an investor in the lottery. I mean, she played that thing every single day. And to my wife's point, the reason that, they hit you with that, you got to play to win or something like that. But then at the very bottom, they say you have a 1,335,300 chance of winning, right? Listen, if you're going to be committed to something, be committed to something. But if she had taken that money, God rest her soul, if she had taken just a fraction of that money and put that into, and my father-in-law was right, they tell us that they hide this in plain sight. They hide this in plain sight. But let me tell you something. Other folks, listen. When they come on the job and they have these little groups and they say we're gonna be here to talk about flight, y'all need to go to them joints. Y'all need to go and ask and listen and understand. I don't even care if you don't know what they're talking about. You said, you ask every question you can ask because at the end of the day, that's your money. And let me tell you something. Uncle Sam ain't gonna give you a break. He want his money.
Yes.
So I'm turning over to my wife. Go ahead, babe.
So if you're not paying into the system, what I want us to get out of the idea of handouts. And by handouts, I mean that we're expecting people to do right by us just because when we haven't checked. So again, I want you to go out and I want you to look up Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation. It's PBGC if you have a pension. However, this is what I want you to do. If you are a member of a pension, I want you to contact your company, your administrator, and ask them, because you need to know, are they underfunded? How's this business working? I find it amazing. So this is what happened. Like I said, me and my husband, we lead leaders, we lead people, and people always want more, right? It's just like me. Oh, and then they're mad that the people at the top are making all this money. So when you're in a business, you have a board, you have people investors. What is an investor? I've given you some money to be able to make this corporation work. I'm expecting a return on my investment. I'm expecting that you do business well. I'm expecting that you have a profit. Then you have employees. right? You have employees that's expecting that they get more money, that you give raises, you give all these benefits, you make it a wonderful place to work. Then you have products, you have innovation that you need to make sure is continuing to make the work better. And you have to make sure it's efficient. And you got to make sure all these moving parts, you got to make sure the investors get their money. You got to make sure employees get their money. You got to make sure the consumers get the good product. You got to make sure that you're doing it efficiently. And people want you to get paid, and then they get mad that you get paid a whole bunch of money to do that. So the thing is, you have to recognize that as an employee, if that's how your role in the organization, that it's not just about you. You might think it's just about you, but the reality is, have you looked to see what their financial statements look like? Do you know how well they're doing business? So when you're asking for all these things, you got your union and you want all this stuff, the reality is it's only so much in the pot. And if it's not enough for everybody to get, they're going to figure out where they can cut. And it may be the pensions, it may be the benefits, it may, it could be a number of different things. But you have to check, right? If you're relying on your livelihood, meaning when you get a certain age, that there's a check in the mail and you have not checked that envelope not one time, you haven't gone out to your 401k, 403b, whatever it is that you have, or you're not putting nothing away, what are you expecting to happen? Honestly, I want you to ask yourself, what is going to happen? Now, if you're at the age where you're like, I'm retiring now and I just got to deal with what I got to deal with, I get it. But there's never a point where you can't say, okay, let me look at things. Let me look with my good eyes, and let me determine. I don't understand what this paperwork said that they sent me. You called the administrator. Explain this to me. Are you funded appropriately? How is the organization doing? Be in the know. But when we're like, I want, give me, they're not giving me enough, but you're not even looking at nothing that's around you. Who moved my cheese? Like the cheese is moving and you have not taken any inventory of what's going on around you. I want you to be in the know before you go. That's what I like to say all the time. But you got something to say, honey?
Yeah, family, listen, the video my wife started this thing off with, I wish I could reach out to that brother and have a conversation with that brother right now. But, lots of times things happen and we get a glimpse of things because, God uses it as a way to educate us, right? And to teach us. This story of Joseph, if you hadn't had the opportunity to read that, to see how Joseph thought, he was a thinker, he was proactive in his thinking and how he used what he had. You've got to use what God gives you. And I'm going to tell you this, I want you to write this down. You got to do the work. You got to do the work. And do the work means you got to research. Do the work means you got to ask questions. Do the work means you got to do your due diligence. Do the work means you got to network. Do the work means you got to be in the know about your financial situation. And I don't care how grim your financial situation is, everybody can save. And it starts with, this is what I'm telling you, it starts with you making a commitment that, you know what, I need to understand where I'm at. You can't understand where you're going until you know where you are. What is your financial situation? And there are tons of people who can help you. The only reason I'm recommending my wife, one, is because I'm married to her and I know her. She's really, really good at what she does. But two, she cares about people. Listen what I'm telling you. The folk who have your money, they don't even know you. They don't know you from Adam. They got your money, though. And they're using your money, and your money is working for them. If your money is working for them, you need to understand what your money is, where your money is, how much it is, and you need to start having that money working for you. And I would tell you this, if you got, I don't know what your savings ability or capability is, but somebody put something, I think it was Crypto, put something in the chat. She was 100. People would rather live comfortably now than save up and be ready for what's going to come in the future. And I'm telling y'all, I'm telling you, what you plan to fail for now, what you fail to plan for now will come back and bite you in the butt later. And I don't want to see that happen. I'm tired of seeing that happening to people, man. So what we're doing, we're coming, and I'm telling y'all, we're gonna put a conference together, y'all. I'm telling my wife, and she's been praying about this, and y'all pray with us. Well, we're gonna get everybody in a room, and we're gonna talk, because we want y'all to walk away with tangible solutions. But listen, even when we do that, we can't make you rich. You're gonna have to commit to do the work. But I promise you, if you do the work, I'm telling y'all, it's going to work out for you. Watch what I tell you. You got to do the work.
Yes, we are going to put on a conference. I get so excited. You go to conferences and you leave fired up, but you don't have no action. And my goal is that the conference will lead you to actions in the room. However, I am so pumped about this particular topic because I saw a TED talk. I wish I could bring my husband. I just don't know how to do it on TikTok. So I'm sorry, guys. I saw this TED talk with this lady. She was just saying, and you might be able to Google her, but she was just thinking that one day she was going to be able to figure out her retirement. And she was working for her entire life. And she got to the point of retirement. She had nothing. And she had nothing to even rely on because she was working kind of, where you kind of get paid as a contractor and things like that. And she was trying to bring awareness, but if you are here, even $25 a week at 5% interest is going to get you something. The thing is that you think that you can't do it because you're looking at all that you have and you're saying, I can't let go of $5. I can't let go. And I remember when I first started saving in my 401k, when I made that decision in my 20s, and I was saying, I don't have it. I was a single mom at that point, and I was like, I need every last cent. But I was like, let me just try to put $5. You're not going to miss that $5. I promise you. You're not going to miss the 20. You think you will, but once you start, you adjust. Your finances adjust, you adjust. And if you are a working person, a working professional, like, where you can, where they match. If you follow me long enough, you'll know I say that is free money. Is somebody saying, hey, if you put $5, I put $5. You don't give up that $5. You put that $5 in. Even if you don't plan to stay there at that company, you might not be fully vested by the time you leave, but you're going to take, like, I'm leaving here with something. You need to be like Denzel. I'm leaving here with something, okay? And if they saying they're going to match, you put something in. Because some companies are getting to the point where they're saying, hey, we don't offer a pension. We do offer a 401k, but we're not going to put nothing in if you don't put nothing in. So if you put something in, I'll put something in. And I see all the time where people just do not put anything in because they think they can't. Put it on automatic. Put it to increase automatic. You have got to psych yourself out. If it takes time for you to go look at it, and you know how I feel, do not ever take out of your 401. Don't ever take out of your retirement because that is for your future. And I don't know why you want to live comfortably today when you at your full body, you're at your full ability, when you can work hard and you may be able to work 1 or 2 jobs. You may have creativity. You may be able to bring in some contracts. When you get older, you can't do that. That mind, that body, everything slows down. So that's when you should be looking out for you, because you already know you ain't gonna be able to do that when you get old. You ain't gonna have that kind of stamina and that energy. So if any point, you should live less now so that you can really be traveling or doing whatever it is that floats your boat when you get older. Okay. I know I'm fussing today, but I am so passionate about this because I see too often our older generation working in places where they shouldn't be working at their age because they got stiffed. They was in a situation, and back then they didn't have as much knowledge as we have. We have so much knowledge. We have so much help. I mean, back in the day, the idea of a financial advisor was so, like, what is that? I can't even figure out a financial coach. They didn't even exist, first of all. And it's like, where do you even get people that can help you because in your mind, it's like, I don't have enough money to get help. But there's books, there's people, there's things that you can say that you can go on a payment plan if you're real serious about this. If you are tired, but if you're not nervous about what's going to happen when you get older, and the only thing saying the Lord is going to take care of. Now, remember when we was in the wilderness, and I say we because, in the wilderness, what happened? God was dropping manna from heaven. And what happened? People started complaining that didn't have enough variety, right? Didn't have enough this. That's what happens when you get old. When you want to be treated and just like you get the scraps, the little handouts, you don't get the variety. You don't get to go on, if you're cruising, you want to go on that cruise, you want to have them grandbabies over and doing whatever it is that you want to do. You're like, no, I'm on a fixed income. No, that fixed me to be fluctuating because you're getting dividends, you're getting some increase, like things are happening and moving. You got to think about future you. You have to. And this idea, because what happens is we sometimes can't do it, particularly because if you're in this generation, what are we, Generation X, I think? When you're in that generation where your parents or your aunties, whoever the older generation didn't properly prepare. So then you have to bear the weight of some of their needs. And then you're still trying to get your kids to where they need to go. And you didn't get no uplift. So money is being pulled in every different direction. And you're trying to figure out how can you do it. I'm going to tell you this right now. If it comes between you taking out your retirement or something like that to put your child through school, listen, don't. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it loud and I'm going to say it proud. Do not. Because then you put them in a position where you're hoping that they're going to now support you when you get older. We kind of got to stop this vicious cycle of we're expecting someone to take care of us. They might have to understand that, hey, you can't go to whatever private university that you want to go to. They got to make some decisions according to what we have here. They might have to write some essays. They might have to do something different, but you have to make sure that you have a good pillow to sleep on and can't wait and hope that the kids are going to be the ones that's going to take care of you. We got to kind of stop that cycle. We got to say to ourselves, what are we going to do to prepare for our future? But right now, I'm sorry, I can't compete with JoJo down the street that they done brought their kid a BMW and they paying full ride and they doing all these things. You might not be able to get this, but baby, you won't have to necessarily take care of me when you get old. There's going to be, some give and take to this. I think if it comes to the decision of that, don't choose your retirement for their schooling, because they have options for school. Sometimes we don't want to recognize the option. We don't want to admit that we can't do and be all to everyone. We can't. So don't try to sacrifice your future elder self so that they can go to college. They're still going to be able to go to college. There's still opportunities. There's still loans. There's still things that are out there to support them. But make sure you are able to be able to provide for yourself when you get older. Go ahead, honey.
No, I'm not. I'm about to deal with this situation on TikTok. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I guess don't fight in the comments. It's not even that big of a deal. I don't even know what's going on in the comments because I am fired up. And we're closing in, but I did want to talk to you about this important topic. If you're just joining us, what we opened up with was the video that has been circulating where the guy lost his pension. And when the guy lost his pension, please tap the room, please share, please join. The guy lost his pension. And I was just saying what legally they can do, but also what you can do. I want you to understand your business. You have to operate as such, knowing that you're in business with these companies, these creditors, all these different folks, and you want to get to your retirement, one, with as little debt as possible, okay? And two, you want to be able to make sure that you're providing for yourself. So go look out at your Social Security benefits, see what's out there, see what's anticipated. If you go and search, and I think I have the link in there, if you search and say, what would be my Social Security benefit? They have a little tool where you put in your age, you put in how much you make, and then to tell you how much you'll have in future inflations, or if something happens to you, or if you're disabled. Again, it's only going to cover about 40%. You don't want to live on a fixed income if you don't have to, but it's going to require that you make some changes today. Also, when you get out there, I want you to go to, and this is on Social Security, the Social Security benefits, choosetosave.org gives you all kinds of tools. It'll tell you if you don't have any retirement, it'll tell you if you want to put a little something in retirement, what that looks like. It will give you some tips and tricks. And it is kind of run by the government, is a factor of the government. But if you put in and say, will my Social Security benefits be there? You'll get this small white paper, and they have a few links in there that'll help you out. If you need some financial coaching, if you need somebody to help you get on your way, if you need somebody to be your accountability partner, please click the link in my bio. I am your girl that will be able to help assist you with that. And I want to leave here today with the primary disruption in your thinking, to think that I want you to understand that you are your own miracle. God has given you wisdom. God has given you understanding. God has given you access to be able to make a change in your future. And I want you to take the bull by the horn, and I want you to ride it. I want you to say, what do I want? What do I want for my future? What do I want it to look like? Stop dreaming in the skies, because retirement is a result of an action. If you don't choose to change, you change you become a part of somebody else's change. So you need to make your what you don't choose, what you don't change, you choose. That's what it is. So if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. If you are living in poverty today and you don't make any changes, then you're choosing it. If you are spending all your money, whether it's on good causes, whether it's on these children, whether it's on family, whatever it is, know that you are making the choice and you have a decision whether or not you're going to be a victim or a victor. And anybody that works for me, anybody that's around me, I say that you are a victor. That is the only expectation. So we're not going to be victims. We're not going to sit here and say that this happened to me. You make a choice today. What do you want your future to look like? And then you make some sacrifices or an investment in yourself. Yes, you can probably make more money. There's so many ways to make more money. And if somebody isn't paying you, you can decide some other ways to make money. But you got to make some choices on how you want to live when you get older and how you want to live in this union. You know what I mean? What if your spouse ends up without income? What happens then? Or you end up on disability? Do you have anything that is set up, or it's going to be all on you? You have to start thinking about these things. If you got in this live today, that meant you needed to know this. And that means you need to make some changes, probably, potentially. Or you know someone that does, and go ahead and slide it on over to them. So no more. We're not victims. We are not victims. We are victors. We're going to walk in victory because that is a promise of God. You don't have to go find victory. We are already victorious, but we got to make decisions that is going to support that victory. We continue to self-sabotage, okay? And say that, somebody got their foot on our neck. We sometimes have our foot on our necks. So if you're putting a foot on your neck, take it off. Go ahead, honey.
Somebody had a question.
What's the question?
The question was, I took out to buy a house so I can have a place that is paid for. What's your thoughts? That was line 9007. I took out to buy a house. I'm assuming she's saying out of her 401. So I can have a place that is paid for. What's your thoughts?
Is it paid for?
Is it paid for?
So sometimes we get into home ownership, and the one thing I would say, if you're going to take out of your 401k, why? You got to put parameters around why you're doing whatever it is you're doing. That way, any emergency that come up, we don't go, and that's the thing we take out of. So if you have put it into your house, don't refi the house and then you're always maxed out, right? Make sure that your house is going to be an investment for you when you become retired. Are you going to have that house paid off by the time you get retired? How many more years do you have in it? Is it going to be a situation where you could sell the house and maybe get that money back? You know what I mean? So if you're doing it and it's investment, I just always say no. I know for a fact that if you can become creative and find a whole lot of other different ways, but I'm just saying it's happened. And that's an easy place to go. But what I'm saying is let that be the last time you go there. Now, I don't know if you had to end up paying it back, but if you didn't have to pay it back, because I think there's some instances where you don't have to pay it back. If you're not paying it back, is that investment? Because if you're taking it out, is an investment. Don't take out of your 401k to bury people. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. We got to stop spending this money. We're spending the money on our future, on things that we can't afford to bury someone. You have to work within your budget and whatever the budget is. And if the person did not make provisions, the other thing I know I'm skipping around. If you have insurance through your job, you do know if you leave that job, that insurance does not go with you. Please have a separate insurance policy and cover your kids, even your adult kids if you need to. But let me get back to your investment. If you take out of your 401k, because remember, when you put money in, it's like compound interest over interest. That's the benefit of putting in, especially if it's pre-tax, even if you pay taxes on it. So you lose out even if you pay it back. You don't get the same return you would have if you didn't never take out. So that's one thing. However, if you take out for a business need, meaning you decide that you're going to invest in a house, you have to treat that house like an investment. That a house needs to support you when you get older, particularly if that's going to be your only investment, right? So you want to make sure that you don't keep refining to get money out. You need that equity to build in that house. Then you also have to protect that investment. Who does that investment go to if something is to happen to you? What is your advanced directory, your living will? You know, sometimes if you're not prepared and something happens to you, and let's say that you're out of commission for a bit and you can't make decisions for yourself and someone else is making provision, how is your investment protected to make sure that whoever you put in charge is following through with your wishes? So you just have to think about that. Hey, this house is my investment. I took out this money out of my retirement to be able to support, so I would have a place to live. Are you going to be able to pay? That house is not paid off by the time you retire. Are you going to be able to meet those payments? Are you going to end up in a reverse mortgage situation? I would just say, please do not take out of your equity of your house unless you're taking out your equity for another investment that's going to make you money. So you have to just start thinking about ways that's going to bring in revenue and not continued liabilities. Do not take out money out of your 401k for things that are not going to bring you revenue. Don't take it out to put kids in school because you need to be able to live when you're retired, period. I know that sounds hard. I know that might be pulling at the heartstrings, but there's just certain things that you got to continue to take care of yourself. Okay. You can't rely on other people that they're going to show up and they're going to do things that you wish they would do, and then they don't do it, and then we're upset with them. Was there another question?
No, that was it, babe.
It paid off. Oh, your house is paid off? Hallelujah.
That was it.
Yes. Yeah, then that's cool because now you got an investment. Something happens, you got a whole investment that you can, oh my gosh, you can do so many things with the house. You know, whether you rent it out, whether you sell it and cash out. Yeah, so if you used it for that, then that was a good investment. And your house is paid off. Absolutely. All right, any other questions? I don't know who. Man, we're not even going to answer that. All right, I think I got all the questions. Yes, paid off, intended retirement house. Amen. I love to hear it. I love to hear it. That's what I'm saying. We got to make sure that we are putting ourselves in positions to be successful so that we can live comfortably in our old age and we are not worried about someone just being in somebody else's hands, because you already know how that can be. It could be good, but it could be not so good too. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. Any other questions? Let me check. No. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Honey, you got any last words? I'm gonna figure out how to bring him live on YouTube. I mean, on TikTok, but I have to test it out so that I can figure that out. Okay, honey, you got any comments?
Nope. Just you were on fire today, so glad you got a chance. People got a chance to hear you on today. But great job today, honey.
It is scary. You're right. It's scary nowadays because so many things are happening. So you want to be able to have something. And let's say you got to leave the country. You know, can you cash out? Can you have, we don't always have to say that this is our retirement place. It could be a number of different options. But what I want you to do is start thinking about it. Stop being afraid to go talk to somebody, even if you've never contributed. Just don't be afraid. Make that first step. You can go ahead and open up a Charles Schwab account and then just start dropping $5-10 in there automatically out of your bank account. Don't be afraid to think about your future. And don't continue to just sit and hope it all works out and crossing your fingers and all those type of things. I mean, just take those steps. I promise you those steps are going to bring you results. Have you ever thought about a plan, something you decided to do, and what happened? It happened. It happened. Why? Because you put a plan together and you put some action together. And that's why a friend here has her house paid off, okay? And she's going to sit comfortably in retirement. It's sometimes we think that we're waiting on something to happen, and what needs to happen is us. And we didn't have a lot of resources back in the day. I know our grandparents, great-grandparents, some people really made out because, I got friends where everybody was left something and looked good, but it didn't happen for everyone. So check into your insurance policies, check into your retirement, and see where you can add more. You want to live comfortably in your old age. You want to be able to get them grandbabies, great grandbabies. You want to be able to slide some. I always want to be that nana that slide a little something in your pocket. They come and say, "Hey, baby," and they give you that hug, and you slide something in their hand. That's what I want to do. What do you want it to look like for you? Just passing through good conversations. Can you speak on the dollar dropping, yeah, that's a whole another conversation.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I'm not an expert on the dollar dropping, but I'm just saying how we talked about earlier. Who moved your cheese? We see what is happening around us. We have to start making changes. We have to start looking at and seeing what we can do to make sure that we're protecting ourselves and we're protecting because this whole thing can crash. I think sometimes we sit here and we're thinking that it can never this will always be here and
Yeah,
it'll continue to work out. But all the signs are leading that it's not.
yeah.
So,
See, and one of the ways you can, and my wife is the expert, I'm not, but one of the ways you can circumvent is my wife talks all the time about diversifying, your investments and making sure you have different streams, of income. And it's very important not to put all your eggs in one basket, especially in this economy. We just talked about this. You just came in, but, someone was told that their pension was ending and they weren't going to get it anymore and they went berserk. So I think it's important for you to, first of all, know the value of the dollar, know what your valuation is in terms of your investments, if you have any, know where your money's going, and you got to start diversifying. I mean, you got to talk to some people who can help you with that, but to stand still and do nothing is what's going to get us in trouble here. Is going to be our nemesis.
yep, that's like burying our money and then hoping it all works out. We got to do something. So, it's been a pleasure to be with you today, and we try to come on every Sunday. So, this is Money and Marriage, Raquel and Johnny Carr, and I'll figure out how to get all my YouTube friends, all my TikTok friends to see the dual screen. I wasn't able to do it today, but thank you so much. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and we try to be on Clubhouse as well. So, talk to you soon. Until next time, thanks so much for joining. Bye bye for now.
Love y'all. Peace out.